I was asked a question off camera, and this is sort of a bonus topic. And it was a question from our very own Cichlid Kings, who was is Whip's World in the house? Moderators, keep a close eye on that guy. He's just a troublemaker. Just picking on you, Whips. So, so I was asked about water clarity, and you know, I'm a big fiend for water clarity. I don't know how many videos I have out there that have floating in air or pristine in the title, and it's just just a topic that I love. And there's a variety of reasons why you might be having issues with water clarity. Now, certainly, if you have a new tank, it's not uncommon to get an algae or a bacterial bloom, and usually that will pass with time. So if you're just patient and you let it run its course, it will clear up. But very often, many of us are not patient, and you want that crystal clear water immediately, and you're watching some gal or some dude on YouTube, and you see those fish floating in air, and you're like, I want that, and I want it now. We certainly are not as, I don't think, as patient as we used to be when we used to go around on horseback, I guess. But so people want it now. So for those of you that get impatient, there's a few things you can do, from expensive and technical down to very untechnical. You can go to the fabric store and buy some crib batting. Be sure it's not flame retardant, but you can buy some crib batting, simple white crib batting, and it works just like floss that you buy, and just shove that into your filter and keep it in there for about a month. Pull it out and throw it out, and the crib batting will pretty much grab everything. You can also use products like Pinky Floss. Pinky Floss works real well. Again, put it in there, leave it in there for a month, and pull it out, or you will have some clogging in your filter. You can also, that's like the simplest route you can go, is just add something that will grab the particles. You can also add things that are sort of biological things, like I think the Fritz Monster 360 and the Seachem Clarity, I think products like that will add, in a biological, natural way, will add some size to the small particles, so that they get trapped in the filter. I think Denny and I were talking last week, Dennis Riddell and I, about something that he used. I think you said Clarity, Denny, and the Clarity, you can add Clarity, and the Clarity will go ahead and attach to those small particles that are fogging up your tank, and then make them more easier to be captured by the filter media. So you can go just plain floss, or you can go plain floss and a liquid additive, and you can also use what are called resin type products like ChemiPure, Purigen, products like that. Boyd Industries, I think, makes ChemiPure. Seachem makes Purigen. These products work. They work. I don't run them in my tanks. They're established enough, right on. They're chemical free, no chemical filtration. You can also use activated charcoal. Activated carbon works. It really absorbs. My favorite is the Seachem Matrix Carbon. They also call their filter media Matrix. I don't know why, but people get those confused. But Matrix Carbon from Seachem is just a beast of an absorbent. So now, with those kinds of products, you leave them in for a limited amount of time. and then you either replace them or just pull them out altogether when you feel they've done their job and get rid of them. So those kind of products are good. And then, of course, you can't beat doing your vacuuming and water changes. I mean, vacuuming and water, removing some of the tainted water, putting in fresh water. I mean, that's you can't beat that for water clarity, and making sure that your filters are well maintained so that the circulation in the filter is not too clogged up, and water is bypassing. It can't get through the media, so it bypasses and pretty much goes unfiltered from the tank and then back into your aquarium. So the only benefit really is perhaps a little bit of oxygenation by returning to the tank and splashing around, but you're not getting any filtration. Now, I did hear something really interesting from Lucas over at LRB, and he said that he, in some ways, liked it when a filter was a little clogged because it slowed the flow, and when you slowed the flow, you had a better chance of bacteria interacting with the water, and both aerobic and anaerobic bacteria had more contact with the water. Sort of like the idea, which is going to be my final point on water clarity, the idea behind a UV sterilizer. A UV sterilizer uses a twist and a low GPH pump. So you have a slow-moving water traveling down a twisting, a twisted pipe that is being blasted by, I believe, a minimum of 20 to 30 watt UV. This is very different than the UV bulb, which is like 7 or 9 watts, and water is rushing past it in a filter, like in a canister filter. The water is just rushing past that UV. It's not really you're getting some water clarification, but you're not getting the removal of bacteria and viruses, spores, things like that, that a slow UV twist can do. And that will create water clarity, and is often found in things like discus tanks. You'll find a UV system because it really zaps viruses and bacteria that you don't want to have in that tank. So there are a lot of ways to work on clarity as a tank matures and your bacteria is really doing its job. In my case, in the very deep substrate, in the massive sponges that are in my sump, there's a tremendous amount of bacteria that is just munching away and pulling nutrients out of the water and filtering. And as your tank matures, you will have clarity. You will have clarity, assuming that you're staying on your maintenance schedule. So any questions or comments about that, let me know. And yes, when I do a new setup, because I bring over filter media, very often 50% water from an established tank, not for bacteria, because very little bacteria is in the water column, just for pH. I'll bring 50% water from an established tank and then fill the rest up with clean tap water. So it's like a water change, right? Making sure I condition that water before adding it. And then I bring in media from an established tank. And so I have an instantly cycled tank, and I never go through an algae bloom. I never go through a bacterial bloom. I have a clear tank from day one. In a brand new tank also, very, very often I will go ahead and add something like Seachem, like a Seachem Purigen product. Like I did in the 300, I had 3 pouches of Seachem Purigen. And then after a while, after they become a little brown, I'll go ahead and pull them out. Don't usually recharge them, even though I can and I have, but I don't often do it.